Look at the chip damage this thing does to it, man. Insane. A nice arced few shots in until we overheat, which should be on the next shot, and then we instantly are capping a bunch there, and then just switching to the plasma pistol, and just like that, you are clearing up and you're getting that 20% increased damage off the perk choice. This heavy plasma incinerator build is an absolute powerhouse. In today's video, we're looking at how you can get this set up for extremely high damage potential and how you can cycle between your primary and secondary weapon to skyrocket your damage even further. In the perk section, we'll also discuss a couple of options you can experiment with to land on a playstyle of your choice, whether that be a more offensive or defensive approach, folks. The heavy plasma is in a superb spot at the moment, being effective at both hold clear and killing Majoras and elite enemies, and if that wasn't already enough, folks, also doing impressive damage to bosses. Couple this with the ability to tank ranged hits with the heavy special ability Iron Halo, and you are a force to be reckoned with and complement any squad composition superbly, not only from a defensive standpoint, but also, surprisingly, a utility one as well. The playstyle for this build is very simple. Focus on lobbing fully charged shots into packs of enemies from any range in heavy stance to benefit from its immense AoE and single target damage. Once it overheats, quickly switch to your plasma pistol to complete the back end of the rotation. By the time this overheats, you will be able to bring the heavy weapon out again, rinse and repeat this process, and you will destroy everything in your wake. If you've taken the overcharge perk, you will benefit from the 20% increased damage to your charge shots, or if you've taken versatility, you will benefit from 20% damage to your secondary weapon. I enjoy utilizing both approaches, if I'm honest, folks, and I change these around for good measure and a bit of variety when I play. Focus elite enemies, and regardless if they are Tyranid or Chaos units, they will fold under the immense pressure of your plasma volleys. Taking advantage of the heavy ability Iron Halo not only allows you to absorb incoming ranged attacks, also ensures that you can provide your squad mates with rejuvenated armor segments via Emperor's Protection every time it breaks. And whilst your shield is up, Conversion Field feeds the speed in which your entire squad's ability recharges at by 50%. Play this with a sniper and take advantage of the headshot perk that allows you to regen ability charge that way, and the immense pressure the tactical can put on enemies with Auspex scan, and you will be blown away at how often you get your ultimate charges back up and just generally how much damage output increases by. There are different ways to manipulate how the shield mechanic works, and it can be leaned into to improve DPS, or you can opt for a more defensive approach, which we will go over in a moment, folks. Moving on to the perks, and in the first column we're going with auxiliary ammunition. When your primary weapon is out of ammo, killing 10 enemies in rapid succession restores ammo reserve by 20% for 30 seconds. In the second column we're going with thermal boost. When a ranged weapon is 50% overheated, range damage increases by 15%. No brainer here, folks. And in this third column you can go for either versatility. When switching weapons, your secondary weapon does 20% more damage, and this effect lasts until reloading or switching back to your primary. Obviously, with a plasma weapon like the plasma pistol, you don't reload, so that's up permanently, and it's a really nice thing to switch to when your main plasma weapon has overheated. Or you can, of course, go with the cookie cutter choice, which is overcharge. The damage of charge attacks is increased by 20%, and when you're lobbing those plasma volleys into large groups of enemies, this is incredibly noticeable and does serious work. In terms of the team perks, it's a no-brainer here. Additional supplies for that 25% increased ammo capacity, not only for yourself, but also for your teammates. They will thank you for it, folks. And in the first gear column, we've got Emperor's Protection. When Iron Halo expends all its energy, one armor segment is restored for all squad members. Really helpful. And then in the next one, Power Regulator. Iron Halo loses energy 15% more slowly. And then the final column, when Iron Halo is in cooldown, range damage is increased by 15%, so you're always getting a bonus. You're either getting defense or you're getting that damage increase when you're using Iron Halo off cooldown. And finally, in the signature column, we're using Conversion Field. When Iron Halo is active, all squad members within 100 meters regenerate ability charge 50% faster. It is worth noting that with Power Regulator draining the Iron Halo energy slowly, this does synergize nicely with Conversion Field, given that it will mean it's up longer, giving you more recharge. But of course, you can look at it the other way and look at the recharge being faster itself, but it being broken easier by 30%, and that synergizes really nicely with brute force as well. So there are some ways you can mix and match these final two columns, folks, but that's the way I'm setting mine up at the moment. In terms of the heavy plasma incinerator, I'm going with Gathalamor Crusade. This thing comes with 14 firepower, much like its other options, but in this particular case, you just get more ammo, and that, folks, is much more valuable than anything else at the moment. Moving on to the perks, and we're looking at common cooling for that 10% less heat. Moving over to rapid cooling. After killing 10 enemies in rapid succession, weapons do not heat for 5 seconds. Heavy velocity. When in heavy stance, your charge shots charge 10% faster, which is really nice. And then we're going to drop down and we're going to take plasma collection for 20% extra, energy reserve, and then efficient charge. Charge shots from plasma weapons use 2 less energy, just makes things go that little bit further, folks. And then across to adamant restoration. When your health drops below 30%, your ammo reserve is restored by 25% of the maximum capacity, and you cannot exceed maximum ammo. This is really helpful, folks. This can get you out of some serious binds. And then we're going on to heavy fire. While in heavy stance, fire rate is increased by 15%. Then back up here to supercharged shot for damage from a charge shot increasing by 10%. And then another one of those, and then we're finishing on retaliation, which means when you get a perfect dodge off. In terms of the plasma pistol, we're going with Aphelion Liberation, and that is purely because of the ammo capacity. Moving on to the perks, we're going with fast venting at the bottom for 15% faster cool. Then rampage. After killing 10 enemies in rapid succession, you deal 25% more damage for 5 seconds. And then we're going straight into supercharged shot. Damage from a charge shot increased by 10%. Another one here that increases our damage by 10% against terminus enemies. That one's great might. Then another plasma collection choice. So this just gives us more plasma energy reserve. Then we're going up onto perpetual velocity for 20% faster charge. And then another 20% faster charge. And then, of course,